to another LinuxGameCast Weekly, the show that covers the latest Linux gaming news, reviews, how-tos, and most importantly, whatever the hell else we come up with. This week, Dota 2 gets a Vulkan button, but don't expect a massive performance boost, and Stellaris visits Earth C137. Ooh-wee.
Aspire releases some community achievements for Fahrenheit, instead of, porting actual games. And the 1080 is going to cost you an arm and a leg in Europe, but in Australia, NVIDIA will literally feed your baby to a dingo in exchange for one.
AMD opens the sauce to TresFX. I hope someone can figure how to do it without killing over 10 FERPs in Tomb Raider. And someone looked at OpenNW and said, I want to do that. So now we have the beginnings of an open source GTA 3 engine.
I'm Vince Stone here at LGC Actual, switching the bits, doing this nightmare fuel all under Linux, joined every week by our tame Canadian podcaster. What's up, buddy?
Eulalia, moo,
and all the way from Space Portugal.
Why, hello.
Mateos. And together with Shadowrealm, the awesome people that join us live every week, helping us form that little bit known as Cocaine Voltron. Before we get started, we'd like to see what's going on in each other's life organs. I'm just going to throw this out here. Last night, I figured out how to get NV encoder working on the 1404s, and that's just like giving me a new set of tools and toys to play with. So, looking forward to that. What's up, Jay Baby?
Oh, I'm on vacation. I have a couple days off, so I'm enjoying that. Sleeping in, playing some video games. Finally got around to seeing Civil War. That's all right.
Yeah, that movie was alright. I didn't really have much going on during the week. I streamed some Starbreak on Friday, and thank you very much to our Patreons, because now that we're past 80, we can actually start, streaming more often.
Well, something that is streaming each and every Saturday night is The Horse, J-Man.
Yeah, The Horse has finally decided to give AMD a little bit of love with something of a button under it. It's a Steamworks update. There we go.
All right.
Yeah, so we have a new Steam beta client update. There's one every week. One of the interesting bits is now AMD applications Vulkan applications that are run on AMD cards will now not have the same sort of performance decrease that we saw in Talos with Steam Overlay. And apparently apparently there were enough AMD Vulkan users to actually warrant this fix, TIL.
I don't know, man. Definitely when I was seeing that, my first thought, and they said in the notes, is like Vulkan applications, and I said, oh, one of them?
Yeah, there are two, if you count the one coming in the next story.
Well, just think about it, because Valve time. It's here, kind of, maybe. No, maybe not so much.
Whoa!
All right, Dota 2
coming.
update, main client, May 18th, 2016. Valve Human wrote, we're going to release Vulkan support soon, probably sometime next week. That DLC checkbox is an error, and basically it's like, oops. So, are we excited about getting the Vulkans, J-Man?
Well, I mean, Dota 2 was the first game Valve actually managed to get running with Vulkan. They were working with Intel to get that. So it's sort of a similar situation to what we're seeing when they first announced Left 4 Dead 2. It took a few months for them to feel comfortable with getting that in the wild. So it was bound to happen. But at least it is now. And I mean, I'm doubtful that they're going to do this, but come on, guys, go back in time and, give some Source 1 games, the Vulkan render. I want some Vulkan love for Portal 2.
I don't know, and I completely agree with you, but I mean, they used 2GL Toggle to get Dota 2 and Left 4 Dead 2, a bunch of source engines up and running on Linux. And I correct me if I'm right, send us some hate mail, LinuxGameCast.com, hit the contact button. If I'm wrong about this, I don't see how they could create a similar tool to work with Vulkan.
No. But that raises an interesting point, though, because they wouldn't need to. They just need to write out the Vulkan code path once, and then it would support everything.
Yeah, because everything else is handled at the OS and the driver level for whatever video card you happen to have.
I think the biggest thing is, I downloaded Dota 2. Not my favorite game, but if it's getting Vulkan support, we definitely want to test it.
I was going to ask, did you burst into flames afterwards?
No, I didn't. But what did happen is I noticed that Dota 2 is multi-threaded on the octa-core AMD 8150, all 8 threads just humming perfectly together. So I think we need to take a, step back and say, this Vulkan update is probably not going to give you the massive performance boost that you saw in things like Talos Principle, but ultimately at the end of the day, the takeaway here is the most popular game on Steam is kind of giving the middle finger in stereo to DX12.
Yeah, the one thing I would like to propose to Valve is, can we get Vulkan in Counter-Strike Global Offensive, please? I'd like that. I like that very much.
I don't know, Pedro, would that make you happy?
They'd be a bunch of rampaging dicks if they didn't.
Speaking of.
Oh, yes. All right. So it has been exactly 1 year since I've last logged into my GOG account to renew my key that I got with my 980 for The Witcher 3 that was supposedly coming to Linux. That never did. Yes, this is from The Witcher. Links to all this stuff is in our show notes. The Witcher 3 is now a year old, and that promised Linux support is nowhere to be seen.
I don't know, man. I was like, that's a bold move, Cotton, when you posted that. And I don't know, Pedro, do you part of me, like in my cold black heart, likes to think that maybe, just maybe, they learned their experience with working with virtual programming and their Eon technology to go, we're not going to use that again. But that does raise the question, does it not? Where port?
Yeah, where's the port? And I don't think that they're not going to go right back to virtual programming as soon as they're sure that the Linux community is okay with virtual programming ports, which, from some of the comments I've seen on r_Linux_gaming, has kind of become the norm nowadays, unfortunately, because yay for rappers. Yeah.
Now, here's my best case scenario, though. The reason they're taking so long is that they're actually working on a Vulkan backend for The Witcher 3, and then you don't have to deal with shit like virtual programming or any of that anymore, because, again, your 3D shit is already done.
Well, since we're talking about fantasy worlds that Jordan's living in.
Shadwin! Yep, it's
Listen,
Zoya.
I rolled 1d20 and Witcher 3 came out on Linux.
No, this is literally Zoya the game. Sure, you don't have a bow and arrow, but you still get the magical grappling hook that you can swing around with. And a big thanks to the guys at Frozen Byte for sending us the keys. Thank you very much. It's out. It has an initial...
Look at this, Brad. OS, SteamOS 2.0. That's it.
Yep.
Good news.
Oh, shit.
They're actually recommending the Brewmaster, and they did say that the more people played the demo, the bigger the initial discount would be, and it's currently at 15%. So I'm guessing not a whole lot of people played it.
Well, they never really outright said what the formula would be. So it could have just been if there are more than 100 people downloaded the demo, they'd knock off 15%.
No, I mean, it's an alright game. We've all played with it for a little bit. It's definitely built using the Trine 3 engine.
Oh, yeah.
Because as soon as you load it, you get that screen of like, I don't support 2160, which is UHD, which Jordan, MT, myself, Atomic, we all have 4K-ish monitors. It does run like Trine 3, so expect anywhere between 45 and 70 FERPs, depending on what corner you slightly nudge your mouse over to look at. And that's pretty much it. Check it out if you want. We will probably be taking a proper look at it next week. Currently 14.44 wet sticky caches. So
I don't know, man. The giant thing. The thing is one giant escort quest. I don't know how. That just doesn't sit right with me, man. I don't want to drag people around. I want to go off and murder people. But since we're throwing chairs at it, I guess I'm gonna have to get over it.
Well, here's something I did like. I got a chance to play with that this week. From Black Pants Studios on Rusty Trails. Good thing Elvis kept his warranty as his house. This is a genuinely fun little puzzle platformer from the creators of Tiny and Big. This will be available June 2016. It will be on the Linuxes. You need the ever elusive kernel glibc 2.14 OS or newer. I'm going to talk to them and get them to maybe sort that. Check it out. I do have some access. I'm working on getting Jordan and Pager access. Black Pant Studios have been supporting Linux since this show has started.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, they were like the first ones to ever like, hey, man, check this out, like way before it comes out when we just started this show. So they're always going to get a plug on that.
Yep. And Grandpa's Leftovers is one of those games that I have to go back and finish.
Morty. Morty.
Listen, Ben, you're being ridiculous.
We got the Council of Ricks 1.3.1. What is it? Well, it's kind of a thing, man. It's what do you call it? Workshop mod?
Yeah, it's a Steam Workshop mod. They've implemented the cross-dimensional Council of Ricks as a playable faction for Stellaris, which is a strategy game in the sort of the vein of Sins of a Solar Empire, not like EVE Online, like Ben was saying. But it's you got all your Ricks. You get there's a Mr. Meeseeks in there. You get some companion Mortys. And if I install this, do I get a coupon for a free replacement Morty?
Yeah, man, but the latest update, 140 new letter-specific portraits, Earth C137, that's our Earth. They added race groups for that. So if you like Stellaris, you might want to check this out. It's priced to sell as in free, so don't let that, scare you.
Yeah, you guys don't be ridiculous. Yeah, okay, so this is Fahrenheit Indigo Prophecy. We covered this, we threw some chairs at this a while ago. Our good friends at Aspire ported it, and they have some community achievements, much like they did with KOTOR 2. I mean, like it's a cute, like people submitted ideas and they put them in the game. It's a cute idea to get people involved. You still got to convince people to actually play Fahrenheit, though. Good luck with that.
Yeah, not everyone is right up. What was his name?
I don't know. I mean, Fahrenheit was the
David
interactive
Cage.
movie thingy, right?
Yeah, it was David Cage.
No relation to Nick Cage. No relation to Nick Cage, the one true.
Yeah, no, absolutely none. And I wonder, I didn't actually look at the achievements, but I wonder if they'll be as YOLO swag Doritos as the achievements that they added to KOTOR 2 based on community input.
Oh man, those were actually kind of fun though. But Jesus robots.
Yes indeed. The Talos Principle 2 was discreetly announced. The story comes from Rock Paper Shotgun. Don't worry, there'll be links in the show notes as usual. And literally all we know and all the guys at Rock Paper Shotgun know is that yes, the Talos Principle 2 will happen. They don't know when, they don't know how, they don't know anything else. They just know that yes, it will be a thing.
Well, Jordan, riddle me this. I mean, isn't it going to be difficult to make Jesus Robot Part Deux like a new game as opposed to something that might just resemble DLC?
See, that's an interesting point, because if you play a little further into the Talos Principle, you find out that you're not the first person to undergo this series of experiments. So there's probably some room there to explore some of the previous inhabitants in their journey,
or maybe do it sort of.
I mean.
Do it sort of prequel style, as in you get to see or you get to play as the early beta versions of the world you play in.
I mean, I don't want to tell these guys to have to do their job. They did a pretty good job with the story for this Principle 1. But yeah, after Serious Sam 4 comes out, that's going to be Vulkan game number 3 or 4 under Linux is a DOTA.
Yep.
But when in doubt, just quit and pick a new toolbox up. Right. This is this is from Valens. This is, what was it, a racing game that we've covered.
It tried to be sort of Wipeout-y.
It tried to be, and now it's trying to be built on the Unreal Engine 4, because they started off this as a Unity project, and apparently they've been running into some issues. They can't quite make the tool chain do what they want it to do, and they're hoping Unreal Tournament or the UE4 engine will fix it. Listen. It's always interesting when a project decides they're going to switch engines mid-swing, because it basically means that their developers have hit a wall. And if they can't program their way out of it, I don't really think that switching engines is going to solve their issue.
I don't know, man. I mean, what you said was completely valid. I mean, these lots, we've all, I don't know if you played it. I know Pedro and I have played it, and Pedro's going to tell you exactly how it went down. But I mean, considering how just blatantly incompetent they were at using Unity, I was like, oh, let's use the big boy engine. I was like, oh, I don't think that's going to work out, P-Man.
No, it would have been great to have some Wipeout type game for Linux. It would have. So when I first saw
Pedro, hold on. It's pronounced Wipeout.
Yeah, when I first saw Valens show up on the Steam store, I was like, oh yeah, that looks amazing. Yeah, it's like, then I started playing it, and my experience can be basically summed up as spawn in, get blown up, respawn, wrestle with the controls, get blown up again, rinse, repeat. That's not fun, and I don't think change of engine is going to change that.
Well, hey, man, they might actually be able to figure out how to make controller support not work with SDL too.
Probably, but then again, Unity is actually introducing SDL now.
It's not that hard. You just start commenting on stuff in SDL2.h. But you know, Ben, I know you're a huge Green Arrow fan, if only because you were in love with John Barrowman and you just want to have his man babies.
Probably,
but you know,
mostly, yes.
True, but if you can't actually be bothered to leave the house and go play archery tag, there's a digital version. This is ArcShot. It is a cross-platform game that if you scroll down to the system requirements, you can run the Linux version on literally any operating system. So I'm going to haul out my big old Univac and see if I can get that shit running. No, but it's Pedro, I think you described it as Towerfall, but first person. It seems to be kind of accurate. Except for the fact that you can't Super Mario
first-person Towerfall. You get different types of arrows that you can pick up. You get some other different pickups. It definitely has the, at least from the video I saw, we're still kind of waiting on that. But from the video I saw, it looks more Quakey than you'd expect, but it looks very much like a first-person Towerfall with online multiplayer, which
one more thing from the system requirements. Apparently, you need to cram an AMD K7 chip in your PCIe port to get video out. That's kind of interesting.
On it.
I guess we know what kind of machine they were using. In any case, let's talk about shovelware. This is Batardia Cards, memes of 2chan. Yeah.
So this is a bastion of like intelligence,
man,
right?
you missed it. There was actually, there was a mouse cursor in their trailer, right?
Yep. There is, and that should tell you just about everything you need to know about the quality of this game. See, they released Batardia long ago. I think it also had a Linux version. Yep. Yes, it does. And this one is the card game because they figured, oh no, the original one is still in early access, and now they have the card game. Okay, why? I don't know.
What is it? A card game and something.
It looks like Pazak from KOTOR 2, to be perfectly honest.
It looks like they're trying to go for the parody element of Hearthstone. Yeah.
Well, I guess lads,
they could have just made a
time
game called Hearthstone.
we can say with utmost confidence, this is definitely memes.
Copyright Jim Sterling 2016.
Then you got to watch your language, or I'm going to call the state police and the cyber police on you. And you know what? You know who we should call the cyber police on? Our Patreons, because they stole our hearts.
Oh, snap.
Holy shit, we're at $150 an episode. 83 Patreons. That is insane, you guys. That is nuts. If you want to become part of the madness, you can hop on over to patreon.com/LinuxGameCast. Even kicking us 5 cents a show basically gets you access to most of the videos that we produce a week early, aside from LGC.
Wait, Jordan, are you saying we're just not asking for charitable donations and we provide things in return for value? No?
Yeah, sexual favors.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yep.
Yeah, but
best kind of favors.
Pedro, get on it.
That's actually the $50 Patreon level.
Yes,
that gets the sexual favors. Yeah. Hey Pedro, how long can you hold your breath? But you can all, if you don't want to sign up for Patreon, if you have some issues with the service, you're concerned about security, you can also hop on over to linuxgamecast.com/support the shows, and we got lovely Amazon affiliate links that don't actually cost you anything but help us out just by giving us a little bit of a cut on a little bit of a taste on whatever Amazon purchase you make. We also have some PayPal Donato buttons if you want PayPal to dick you around a whole bunch. But coming up next...
Wait. We got some people to thank this week, son.
Oh, shit. We do have some people to thank. We have a lot of people to thank.
Oh, snap.
We got LCL, HSTR, who's on the producer level now, Tim A, Renee K, Jordan L, Mir Upped, and Monster Cameron Upped, because apparently he just can't get enough of the Radeon hates.
He's a bit of a masochist, isn't he?
Speaking of Radeon,
I do want to mention before... Come on, go get this out of the system. Jill actually brought it up. A couple of you have watched our attempt at a regular Linux newsy show we do on Wednesdays. Pedro and myself, this fine young cannibal, and Strider.
Sometimes. If he can be bothered to wake up.
Hey, we now officially have the MP3 feed on linuxgamecast.com, so you can go there, you can just subscribe to it, and it'll put it right into your podcatcher, and you will be happy with it. Now, for the fourth time, Jordan.
Yes, coming up next, speaking of AMD hate, oh my god, that new NVIDIA card is expensive. Will you take my arm and my leg, or do you need my baby as well?
Look at that! It's time for the news, and in true LGC fashion, we start off with some new drivers from NVIDIA. Yep, they've released version 367.18 beta. You can go on over to nvidia.com/download/drivers and just download it. It has a bunch of bug fixes. It's most of the changelog that they have there on the site. They've on my end specifically, I don't know what exactly is causing this. I've been trying to find out more about it before I actually post on the Dev Talk forums for NVIDIA. But on my end, it causes texture flickering in Unigine Heaven. Not, I put in Unity Heaven in the notes. I'll have to fix that. Yeah, I tried reverting to 364.19 and it didn't happen. And the moment I went back to, 367.18, it happened again. So if you want to play the home game, try, install these drivers, try running the Unigine Heaven benchmark, and pay attention to scene 10. That's the most egregious one.
I don't know.
How does it run with Oil Rush?
Jordan, one thing I want to ask you, I mean, are you surprised like I am? I know Pedro was like, well, it's a beta driver. I was like, I was, NVIDIA being NVIDIA, and us, we're just NVIDIA fanboys, right?
Totally.
Totally. Kind of shocked that they didn't release support already for the 1080.
As much as it pains me to admit it, I do have to agree with Pedro. Now, in beta release is probably not the best time to release the new hardware support. They're probably going to do it with one of the more stable drivers. And when was the when was the release date for the 1080? It was like June or some shit.
27th. It's the 27th of this month.
Yeah, June 27th. So, or of this month?
Yep, this month, May 27th.
Okay, May 27th. So we're probably gonna see. I don't know what is the fucking day today. Oh shit! So we're probably gonna see a 1080 driver next week or this coming week.
Yep,
that's my theory.
Well, prepare your wallets because this is going to run you for the 1080 Founders Edition in the Europe's 789 euros. This is
how much is that in Canadian filth money?
It's 885 wet American stinky cashes, so probably about 1,000. But we'll get into that.
1161. There
I mean, you can't order it, but I mean. There's a price, but I mean, ultimately, $789 for. We're not going to call it the Founders Edition NVIDIA. I'm sorry, reference card.
It's the reference.
Still, that's not wicked expensive. I mean, here's my advice to the chillins listening at home. There's a reason NVIDIA's being hella quiet about the performance of the 1070, and it's not because it's slow.
6.5 gigs.
Yeah. Listen, I'm curious to see how much kidneys and livers go for in Portugal. That's what I want to know.
I have no idea, but EVGA does like to overprice things because here in Portugal, at least, most retailers will just pull the price in US dollars, replace the dollar sign with the euro sign, and say, have at. That's the conversion.
Right, so
rate
Pedro is volunteering his livers and kidneys for whoever wants a new
Both of
1080.
his livers?
both. Listen, we had to have the redundant one, right? Because he drinks so much.
Fair point.
I
But dollar
appreciate
news.
Oh yeah, no. It's $1,100 in Canada. In Australia, the 1080. Oh boy, $12.99. So that's an addition. That's about what I'm gonna be paying for mine. So Kloinka, I think you and I were kind of in the same boat here. Insofar as I think at some point I'm gonna have to conceive a child and then surrender him so I can afford this. I was thinking, oh, maybe I can sell my 980 and make some money. No, that's not happening. Oh,
I don't know, man. I've never understood that because it can't. I mean, American Russian is all made in Taiwan, but now everything's made in China, or some fabs are still in Taiwan.
or Taiwan. Still Taiwan.
Is it that big of a geographical difference between shipping it over to the States versus to Space Australia? I mean,
well, you got to turn the GPU upside down, right?
Oh, right.
Yeah, and you have to flip all the bits.
Yeah, no, it's a completely separate Australian driver. But speaking of drivers, it's time for a little more yellow swag. Intel, we actually covered this on Weekly Daily Wednesday, but this is the gaming podcast, so it gets some love here too. MesaMatrix.net links to all of this, show notes, good stuff. Blah, Morty, you gotta listen to me, Morty. You gotta clone the Mesa Git and compile it if you got an Intel GPU. Actually, if you got a Skylake GPU, because they finally have OpenGL 4.2 support fully done in Intel's i965 drivers. We've been waiting on this for a while. They're one extension shy of being on parity with Radeon SI. And I mean, for those of you stuck on laptops with Intel IGPs, I mean, yay, you can sort of play new games now on your Intel IGP, but it's not going to help with the driver speed. It's not going to help with the slowest Intel IGP performance, but at least you can play some modern games reliably on low. So check this out if you're one of those poor schmoes on the open source drivers.
Yeah, and just to reiterate, this is only available for Gen 8 plus Intel chips. That's just Skylake right now.
It's
no, I loved it. I mean, Strider, he was always fun about lording over his i7 until Jordan got his Skylake, and he's like, oh, it only works with Skylake. It's rubbish. I don't like it.
Yeah, it's not Haswell, so I'm not having it. It's not the 4.2 specific extension that they got working recently that would stop it from running on Haswell. It is the OpenGL 4.1 GLARB Vertex Trip 64-bit and the 4.0 extension ARB GPU Shader FB64. Those are the two extensions that only work on Skylake for now.
That's kind of Intel's fault for that one. But listen, we all have long, luxurious, flowing hair, and I think it's time we share the secret to success with the masses. Don't you agree, Ben?
I think we need some TresFX.
I wasn't talking
Twitch.
to you.
Ooh la la.
Yeah, TresFX 3.1 is either fully open source or
pro tip AMD. All right, if you're listening on the audio version, we're looking at 2 3D models of Nightmare Fuel with hair.
Yeah, you're looking at the uncanny valley. Just look at how deep it goes. But yeah, it's the TresFX. You can.
No one did it. It would be perfect, and you didn't do it. You fuckers. Ugh. I'm done.
Yeah, it's the sauce is now open or will be open soon. This comes as part of the GPU open that AMD is doing, trying to compete with NVIDIA GameWorks. Mm-hmm. It's like NVIDIA's got a really good GameWorks library that people can use and don't really have to do a lot of work. What's AMD's response to that? Let's give them the source code. Let's let them do all the work.
I mean, yeah. Okay, let's be in the interest of perfect fairness. NVIDIA did the exact same shit a month ago. They released their HairWorks stuff. They're like, get that shit working on other stuff because we can't be ours too. But, I mean,
you know, ultimately, I think we need to applaud, I mean, AMD for, you know, listen, they're not doing this because they want to. They're doing this because they have to. But at least they are doing it and letting the community fix what they can sort. And
that's true.
Hopefully, you know, with the open source drivers, because let's face facts, even the Ubuntu's was like, we're not dealing with the GLRX BS anymore. Hopefully, you know, maybe in a year or so, we're going to have some options, and I think that is a good thing. True. Yeah,
and I mean, we have had a little peek about TresFX on the Linuxes. If you pay attention to our Tomb Raider review, it works decently well via IndirectX on an Intel CPU, on a AMD CPU.
No.
Yeah, tanks by about 10 FERPs-ish on average. But yeah, my usual request stands like what I did with NVIDIA's HairWorks. You have the sauce, make it work properly on the Linuxes, please.
Okay,
all right.
Let's not whine about it.
Yes, or less, because Wine Staging release 1.9.10 now brings CSMT back. They had pulled it.
Wait, Pedro. CSMT. What's that? Was that the thing that makes all the things run really fast?
Yep, it's the command stream multi-thread patches that actually made some games gain a significant amount of performance when you enabled it.
So you're saying that they pulled it?
Yeah, they did, because
why would they pull it? I mean, it seems like a brilliant piece of technology.
It was. It's just that the Wine team started implementing CSMT differently than the way the his name was Stefan Dosinger. That's the guy that originally created the CSMT patches. He implemented CSMT in a different way. The official way is texture based. So with the Wine team going one way and those patches being a completely different thing, they pulled it and were kind of waiting for Stefan to go, all right, fine, I'll re-implement them the official way. And he did, and now it's back.
Hey, man, I think that's definitely a good thing, because the last thing we need is a buggy version of Wine, right?
Yeah, by definition, Wine is a buggy version of Wine, considering, again, they have to replicate Windows bugs in order to get programs to work.
Don't QA my statement.
That's okay. So this is the Unity engine QA processes on blogs at unity.3d.com. And you know what? For a lot of our audience here, I don't think this is anything new. This is basically describing the flow from QA to a release candidate to a final version and all the various steps involved. Yeah, so basically just click export and you're done, right? Right, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what they're saying, like alpha, beta, release candidate, and then they're going to ship it. But they do point out that this is too much to cover in one blog, so they're going to do an ongoing series of this. And, you know, some people might find this terribly interesting. To me, you know, Unity, you guys are doing, guys and gals, however you want to do it.
Toshibar
doing really good work. We don't have a problem with Unity. We think Unity's awesome. It's just the morons that use it and click export. But
maybe his first video game engine.
What do you think about this, Pedro? I mean, here's one thing I was like, looking at their flow, and I was like, don't you think this is kind of a bit slow and quaint compared to the open source Unreal Engine 4 development?
A little bit. Yes, but then again, we can't really fault them on slow development. They, after all, they only got SDL2 working in 2016. So,
well, it's better than them implementing this entire thing from scratch. But again, if you're interested in getting into game development or even software development, this is something that might be worth your time to read through. I mean, like the release process at Unity is not dissimilar from basically any other place I've worked at. So read up on it. But speaking of clicking export, then someone has done that to the extreme. Mutiny!
I mean, if you watch *Halt and Catch Fire*, you might get that. Anyway, it's a game engine Unity reimplementation. It's open source GPL version 3. Yeah, they're trying to kind of do it piece by piecemeal. And it does work. There's a couple of games out currently. The engine already has, I mean, it's been used for the development of both a cross-platform commercial game, Defile of Eden 2, and an entry during the 24-hour games competition called Bastard. The more the merrier, I guess.
I don't know. Is that bastard like how someone from Boston would say it? Bastard. I mean, it's good that someone at least is trying to reverse engineer what Unity is doing, because that sort of knowledge is useful to have out in the wild. And while Unity is great, there's no guarantee that they're going to be around forever. So this is doing something to the tune of what FNA is actually doing. It's giving you a reasonable way of allowing you to continue working on your legacy code.
But if you think these guys are psychopaths, Pedro's got something even better.
Oh yeah, these guys are not psychopaths. These guys are just poking Rockstar with a stick and saying, come at me, bro. Yep, this is OpenRW. The RW stands for Renderware, which is the engine which was used to power GTA 3, Vice City, San Andreas, all of those spin-offs of that family of GTAs. And
Hello Kitty Island Adventure?
A what?
Hello Kitty Island Adventure.
Yeah, that one too. Yes. But yeah, you can actually go to their GitHub and just pull the sauce, build it. It builds, at least on Fedora 23. I managed to get it running. I saw the intro.
Yep, there's your screenshot right there.
Yep. There's the intro. I saw the intro cinematic. There were absolutely no shaders to be had in the current version, so all of the explosions and all of the post-processing effects are missing, so it's going to look a bit jarring if you ever saw that cutscene before. But after the intro cinematic is over, it just stops. If you go back to my screenshot, that is literally all you'll see. It's most definitely a start, but it needs some work.
Yeah, more crazy people is good. This goes double for what I said about the Unity thing from the last story. It's fantastic that we have more people working on reverse engineering toolchains.
Yep.
So that the old games can continue to exist into the far, far future. Game preservation is a topic that doesn't actually get brought up a lot. And people working on stuff like emulators or Wine are really, really helping out with that. And I played the shit out of Vice City and GTA 3 back in the late grade school, early high school days. So I'm looking forward to a couple of years from now when this is actually a pretty straight up drop-in replacement for GTA 3, because that would just be awesome to have that running natively under Linux.
Yeah, man, I definitely... I'm almost positive that I played Vice City under Wine for like 3 minutes, and I was like, oh, that works, that's neat, don't care. But more
it has flock of seagulls, man.
Hey, man. I was like, initially, I was like, where's Open Skyrim? Then I thought about that other Vin's like, shut the hell up, man. We'll not get anything done. And I was like, you're right.
How am I supposed to play with Shadow Play if I'm playing Skyrim? It's impossible.
But we have a bit of a controversy, yeah?
Le controversy.
Le controversy. French Kickstarter game, Lynn and the Spirits of Inyao, accused of having been developed legally by unpaid interns. Yeah, I mean, this actually like rolled out earlier this week, and no one was really covering, but now a lot of people are covering it. They did a Kickstarter. It was almost funded, just getting through there. Apparently, there was one guy running it and just hiring, giving people the opportunity to be an intern.
Exposure.
Yeah,
it's
right.
Exposure, yeah.
And work on that, and just cycling through them over and over and over. They were developing, you know, all the assets and everything like that. But apparently there's no game. The only thing that the interns were able to make was the trailer for the Kickstarter page. And now I'm not done talking.
Right.
But what happened was, I mean, when people were like, all right, this is BS, this dude would like straight up threaten him. And he was like, I will give you bad marks on your CV or whatever they have. And, you know, for your intern things in Space France. So a lot of people didn't, but this got picked up. And the beautiful thing about the story, this guy who was running the project, who was just dicking over all the interns, he wrote like, well, I didn't expect all the blowback and all that, so we're canceling the project, aka still keeping all the money. I'm sorry, Jim, man, what were you saying?
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, getting to a trailer is about all that interns can do, considering they're unpaid comp sci workers. But, I mean, that's the problem with interns, right? You own them. You don't own them, so they go out and talk. And then they address these issues. You have to straight up buy slaves from Malaysia, set them in front of computers, and have them make your game. That's the only way to do it.
LGC cares.
LGC does not endorse slavery. But yeah.
What are you talking about, slave?
I'll take things you never thought you'd have to say in defense of the show for 1,000, Alex.
Oh, look, it's another Kickstarter game surrounded in controversy. Business as usual, then.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely happened.
There's some workers. You know, it's the same thing with artists. Programming is hard. It's not just I press the computer button and then I computer out a program.
Actually, I'm going to throw out a little bit of a pro tip. I learned this when I was doing my interning. I'm not saying this works all the time, but 9 times out of 13, and they're like, this is unpaid. They're willing to pay you if you're like, okay, I do have this one other offer. It is paid. It doesn't pay a lot, but I need to go back and talk with them. 9 times out of 13, that person who's not going to give you a paid internship is like, yeah, they got a budget for it. They just want to keep it.
They probably do. That is a very valid point. But, you know, speaking of abusing people and having them work for free, we're going to throw some chairs at the Mims coming up next. Being a god emperor is a lot of hard work. You gotta set your race on the golden path. You gotta see far into the future and predict anyone who is gonna try and overthrow you, and otherwise just rule with our iron fist. It's exhausting. I don't know why you'd want to play a game about it, but if you do, you can play the Mims by Squatting Penguins, built on the Unity 4.6 engine. You can pick it up for around 15 to 20 of your particular currency of choice, unless you're in Australia, in which case, you know, maybe that's about $8,000. Who knows? But what is it? Experience the mysterious and mystical by taking a journey with the Mims in the strategic god game. Create structures, plant vegetations, breed animals, take care of your minions, use divine psi powers, triumph in the face of natural disasters, fight monsters, predict the future, and so much more. And that more includes a brush with the Inquisition of the chairs. 1 chair means that it's garbage. 2 chairs means that it's meh. 2 chairs means that it's pretty good. And 4 chairs means that's amazing. We also got our categories of doom. Mixed with the working shiny sounds, controls, and fun. So, can the power of the god of the Mims even approach that of the chairs? Let's find out. Ben, did this game make with the working?
Well, Brother Sfang, over here on the Ubuntu 1404 LTS, yes, I'm still running the old stable sauce with an 8150 AMD 980 4K displayed box of business. Well, let's see how it runs. It didn't pass the 1080 to 2160 resolution test. I don't know what to say about that other than it didn't, and that just kind of tells me, I mean, that's kind of a sign that, Unity 4, Pedro might even have an issue with it as well. On top of that, I mean, it genuinely struggles to hit 60 FERPs at 1080, sometimes dropping into the low 20s because, fuck you, you turned your camera to the wrong angle. And there's no save system. There's a built-in save system, but we'll get more into that during the fun section. But I want to close off the mix with the working about that save system because, you know, I asked the developers and I was like, hey, man, why doesn't this have a save system? And they immediately whipped out the we're a small indie team card. Like that was some type of shield that defends them because this is no longer in early access. And they said, and I quote, maybe in AAA games, mid-save game is a standard. This is why people are accustomed to this option. Die in a fucking fire. All right, seriously, seriously. It's not broken. It technically runs, so I'm going to technically give you 2 chairs.
See, unlike these guys who apparently are incapable of Linuxing, I had no issues getting the game running. Pedro's going to talk to you about buffer underruns. I'm usually the guy who gets all the buffer underrun stuff, and that did not happen with this game, which I found quite shocking. The lack of save system doesn't really result in a chair being dinged for the mix with the working. No, that chair gets ripped out somewhere else. So, for the only 4 chair score this game will ever see, you'll get it from me for mix with the working.
On what?
On Fedora 22, 64-bit with the i7 6700K, NVIDIA GTX 980, 32 gigs of RAM, SSDs, yada, yada, yada.
Yada yada. So I could tell this was a Unity 4.0 series game because it attempted to full screen into 1920 by 1200 into both my monitors. When I corrected it, and I corrected it by going to .config Unity 3D Squatting Penguins, opened a prefs file, set the resolution manually, and oh look, now it figured out the correct resolution. And while I was there, I had a look at the player.log file, and it's like, loading engine version, Unity 4.6 FE3, whatever. Oh, right. That's what we're dealing with. And yes, the buffer underruns are real. I should also mention that even though it does full screen, it full screened on the right monitor when I wanted it, and I have the left monitor set to the primary display. Wouldn't have it.
Which?
All right. Yeah, the buffer underruns are real. I thought setting the latency in the Pulse Audio daemon conf file was enough, like I do whenever I do a fresh install. But no, not for this game. I dare you to try and listen to a YouTube video while playing this. It's not going to be pretty. So on the Fedora 23 64-bit with the FX 8370E overclocked at 4.2 gigahertz and GTX 970 Strix, it gets 2 chairs.
All right, that's 2 chairs. I actually did play this game with the YouTube window open, watching a video. No issue. So I think Pedro's smoking a little bit of crack. That's 2 chairs for Makes with Working. Up next is Shining Sounds.
Is it brilliant? Is it beautiful? We all wonder as we sit back. Well, if you look at the screenshots on their Steam page, you might be slightly actually impressed. But don't, because jaggies everywhere. And you're talking about Captain F anti-leasing, because normally I can't be asked, but this was bad enough to where, yeah, I wanted to do something that, while anti-aliasing technically works, air quotes on that, you need to be face first into a 28-inch monitor to tell the difference between not and 8x, because it only goes to 8x. And, if we're on the sounds, if you want to try to mute audio or sound effects, you have to restart the game. You can't do that while you're actually in the game. You can suggest, then restart.
That's a AAA feature.
It's a feature, man. Yeah, I know, it's not a big budget game. And, that's only made worse, when we're just talking about the graphics, because they're straight out of 2003. And you know what? I'm kind of being generous when I say that. But then we come to the voice work. Now, billions of years ago in the future's past, because this thing has been in early access for 2+ years, that not wall of text, but lower third of text they were actually going or something like that. And that was at least something. Now, it's just completely silent. And when you talk about the background music, that will nope you to sleep quicker than a Rohypnol smoothie. Chat room? No. Bad chat room. Don't suggest that. So, Shining Sounds, we'll give it 2.
Yeah. You use the Night Attack spelling at chat realm, then it's a little disappointing. But for Shining Sounds, the visual offerings are pretty meh. Like moving around the map to see things, that's something for the control section. But it's definitely very underwhelming, middle of the road. I think circa 2008, like low budget game, is an adequate descriptor for the visuals here. And the sounds aren't, and I got no buffer underruns, which I found surprising. But even then, the sounds aren't really mentionable, because I remember listening to them, because I was hearing them, and I could not tell you right now what the hell they even were. That's how forgettable it is. Yeah, the Mim design is okay. They kind of look like those weird aliens from Toy Story. That doesn't really do it for me. I don't know. It's a very middling type game, so I get a middling score for Shining Sounds. 2 chairs.
Oh yeah, there were definitely sounds there, but most of what I heard was the staticky garbled mess from the ALSA plugin causing buffer underruns with Pulse Audio. Yep, and that is a bitch, because you can't actually go into Pavu control and mute that stream, because that stream keeps crashing and respawning. That's what the buffer underrun causes. It just crashes, respawns, crashes, respawns. It's in any case, the graphics, well, it's Unity 4. You've seen those blades of grass flickering in the wind in just about every single game that we covered over the past 2 years. And anti-aliasing, Ven's already gone into it. For me, I couldn't see a damn difference. At 1080 on a 23-inch IPS monitor, put it at nope. I would get like 100-something FERPs in the options menu, but yeah, there were all the jaggies there. Then I would put it at 8, and the FERPs would drop down to like 30, and the jaggies were still there. So yeah, no, 2 chairs.
All right, that's 2 chairs for Shining Sounds. Up next is Control Ven. Do you spin me right round, baby, right now?
I don't know, man. Pedro just said we've been doing this for 2 years. We've been doing it for 4.
It's Pedro's, man. It's like 50% of an actual year.
I know, it's brilliant. All right. However, and whoever decided right-click plus scroll-click equals rotate should be spanked with a shaved weasel. Serious. But don't worry about it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, because you can rebind the... No, I'm just fucking with you. You can't rebind shit in this damn game. Welcome to 2016, bitches. Hell, man. I mean, normally we rarely, even 2016, run into games that have controller support that you can't rebind. It is blowing my mind, Oregon, out that they couldn't even be arsed to do keyboard and gerbil rebinding. Even though it's Unity 4, that's very doable, but they didn't. So you're kind of stuck with what they give you, and what they give you is rubbish. So I'll give you 2 chairs.
Yeah, the keyboard controls at least are all over the place. And screen rotation does not work this way. What the fuck? Okay, listen. Here's the thing. You can imagine that your camera is on a stick, and it is pointing perpendicular to that stick. And if you rotate the camera by pressing Q, it goes counterclockwise. And if you hit E, that stick rotates clockwise. That seems to be how every single other game in the history of games that have rotatable cameras functioned. Oh, not this one though. No, sir. You have to rotate and then move. You have to move your camera perspective, rotate, move it again, and you're going to miss stuff on these maps if you don't actually explore them, because there are critical resources you require, and if you don't get them, you got to start that mission over, man. Beyond that, everything else is point and click and click and point, and it's your standard God game interface. No real issues with that, but seriously, how do you fuck up camera rotation? Minus 2 chairs. 2 chairs for this nonsense.
Okay, so you use your scroll wheel to zoom in and out. Mm-hmm. That's fine. And then you use your arrow keys or your WASDs
to made the colors match.
To move the camera. That's fine. Then you'd expect that, say, if you held down the right click or even hold down the mouse wheel and drag the mouse, that the camera would rotate. No. Yeah, Ven wasn't kidding when he said that you need to hold down both the wheel and the right click at the same time.
Start shaving the weasels.
And then drag the mouse to spin the camera. What kind of game development background do you have to be brought up in for that to make sense? And no, you can't rebind controls because what the hell? I mean, I can't give it 1 chair on the technicality that it does in fact control, but I can certainly give it 2.
Yeah, see, I'm kind of low on weasels. I got shaved ferrets though. Does that work, Ben?
How about shaved beavers?
Oh, snap. I don't got shaved beavers either, but that's 2 chairs for control. Let's put a bow on this. Ven, did you have fun playing the
fun section, our subjective category that we're going to rock on about? Well, here's the dice, Brad. You know, I'm not a fan of hand-holding, but for fuck's sake, give me the slightest idea, Brad. This game thinks it's being, air quotes again, hard by saying it will not provide additional hints after never providing said additional hints. But that just translates to we couldn't be arsed to make a proper tutorial. If I'm heading over to the YouTubes, like after you get through all your bullshit and just drop me in the map, to figure out step fuck mothering 1, you done goofed. I've already called the internet police on you, son. But to add insult to that injury, we talked about saves. Yes, we talked about saves. They worked on it and they improved it. It saves after each mission, which each mission averages about 1 full ARN. You can't make that shit up, people. You just can't. I mean, wow. But anyhow. I ran out of gems, and you see, that's your currency in the game to build things and all that, and I couldn't get any more. And that was a genuinely serious issue with this particular game, because I was using gems to purchase fucks given, and I'm all out of fucks given, so I'm going to give it 1 share.
All right. Well, yeah, I mean, like, I don't see how you could get into this game without even playing the tutorial, which shows you what you need to build, but not why you need to build it or why it's important that you keep this maintained or upgraded. I mean, it's not that difficult, so you can figure it out eventually. But it would be nice if they actually told you what the shit is going on. So, so, like I said, this game isn't complicated. What it is boring. I've never really been a fan of God games. I played Black and White back in the day, and it really caught my interest. I know, right? It's so boring. Then it's like sitting in synagogue with nothing but your Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy to keep you.
I thought you snuck like a Game Boy in synagogue.
Oh no, it was Hitchhikers, because that shit looked like the Bible. But
bonus G.
But anyways, sacrilegiousness aside. This is a game that will not make you change your mind about the genre in the least. It's boring. You click around and you wait. At least with like real-time strategy or Civilization, you at least get the sense of progress. But in this game, there's just so much waiting, and you can increase the timer if you need to charge your psi powers faster, or you need to wait for the ship to come back from selling your chickens for gems that you can use to buy fucks to give. But it's just sitting there and waiting, and it's annoying and boring. And why the hell am I even doing it? I almost put 2 hours into this, and by the end of it, I was like, "Is it done yet? Oh God, I just need to go lie down. I'm just so bored." And really, the gem shortage will screw you over, like Ven said. I actually got to a mission where they give you just enough gems to get to where you need to go, but you need one more that is just out of range, and you're straight fucked. So, you know what? This game is straight fucked. It gets 1 share.
Yeah, you know what else real-time strategy gives you? Agency. But we'll get to that. This game adheres to the tell, don't show school of design, as in it tells you in a screen-filling, opaque wall of text that space chicken you grew was taken to the spaceport, and somehow that helps. It tells you that the memes now consider you their deity, even though all you see is a bunch of semi-transparent buildings while your fingers hover the Alt and F4 keys, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Before I tear into the memes any further, I would like to say I don't like God games. So take everything I say from now on with a grain of chainsaw. They take real-time strategy, which I also don't like, and introduce a degree of stupid. You're not a commander with soldiers obeying your every order. You're a deity literally giving out suggestions to beings of limited intelligence. And if they don't adhere to said suggestions, well, then you get to go full metal Old Testament on their ass. It's basically slavery of the subnormal. I guess that's why most God games don't offer portray the lot you're looking after as human. Yeah. I just noticed something. This game is so not my bag that I'd rather waffle than actually talk about it specifically. And the exact same thing happened while I was trying to play it. At one point, I got up and decided to vacuum the apartment instead of playing the Mims. Because if I'm going to do menial tasks, I'll do them where they matter. In the real world. And I don't get why people play video games to recreate that feeling of watching an ant farm. Because that is exactly the degree of agency you're given in this game. You're staring at an ant farm and you're dropping stuff in and see what the ants do with it. That's it. 1 share.
Oh, it's done? Oh, good. I can stop. Okay, that's 1 share for fun. Tally that up. That is 1 share for the fun category and 1 share for the final score. Final thoughts. The Mims is a God game that makes you really wish that God would summon down a flood and drown you so that you don't have to play it anymore. Then
the Mims is goddamn poor excuse for a game, Brad. Listen, I mean, this game was made by a 2-person team, And both of the lads genuinely seem like really nice people. I mean, we've talked with them, over those 2 years. However, Dust and Axiom Verge, I mean, these are just two off the top of my head, Oregon, were both made by a one-person team. So I don't feel bad when I say unfinished game is unfinished. And I'm going to give you a pro tip for free right here, full of Vin-sauce. Once you exit Greenlight, don't even think about trying to pull the small indie team Carter defense. It makes you look more incompetent than you already are.
Yeah, you see, if you look at the Steam reviews for this game,
just quit playing all the AAA games, man.
Yeah, all the AAA games that don't exist for Linux. Actually, I played all of the ones that are currently out for Linux. Yeah. But yeah, if you look at the Steam page for this game and you pay attention to the reviews, they are very positive. There's like 80-something% of the reviews submitted are positive. So feel free to ignore everything I said up to this point, because if you like gun games...
Here's something I want you to think about. Didn't we receive like a shitload of keys for this without ever even asking?
Yeah, including the developers.
I'm not alleging anything, but I'm just saying put that somewhere.
Including a couple of extra ones that you yourself got, and even Jordan got an extra one too.
Maybe some of that might have influenced some of the reviews with the showering of free game. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
he doesn't get what I'm saying. All right, Jordan.
Oh, you guys are done? Okay, finally. Coming up next, we got some hate mail for you. We discuss why Dota 2 is the worst thing to happen to PC gaming since the invention of the Macintosh.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you know what time it is. Yes, it's some hate mail, my personal favorite time of the show. And if you'd like to get in touch with us, you probably already know how to do it at this point. LinuxGameCast.com, contact button on the nav bar, fill out the form, easy enough. Just, then edit a little thing that you can choose whether that bit of hate mail is going towards Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays or Linux Gamecast Weekly.
Wait a minute, wait. Linux Weekly Daily Wednesday, what the hell's that?
That's that midweek show that we do to cover all of the Linuxy news, all of the Linuxy tangential news, because we deviate a lot from the standard Linux thing, as it were, and we don't cover gaming all that much. So it's the
Phronix podcast?
Kinda, sorta. But yeah,
much less speculation.
Imagine Phronix with accuracy.
You can get in touch with us that way, or you can just leave a YouTube comment, poke us on Google Plus or Twitter, even Facebook, and we'll plug your stuff. This week, though, we only got one bit of hate mail from Enyul.
This is about Mobus. And Mobus says, if you have a problem with the Dota 2 player base, simply use the mute button next to their nickname, and you'll never regret it, ever. Just play the damn game. There's a reason why it's the most popular game on Steam, and will stay that way for a long, long time. Don't let these kids ruin your fun. Mute, ignore them, and enjoy the best multiplayer game created in these past 2 decades. But hold on, because Overwatch hasn't been released on Linux yet. So what are you talking about? The best game?
Oh, no. I just want to take a moment to thank personally Empty for creating Bradley for us. Yes. Something that we actually use on the show. Therefore, we want to give him a plug.
He's not bitter at all. No.
Here's the thing about Dota 2. We like. I guess maybe if we had a group, maybe we should try this, lads. What do you think, Pedro? Should we try the Dota 2? I mean,
get 5 people together and cooperate.
Pedro, have you not downloaded Dota 2? Because I've already downloaded Dota 2 because of Vulkan. And I was like, I want to try that when it comes to Vulkan.
I haven't downloaded Dota 2 in years. I downloaded it the first time.
You're going to download it when Vulkan support comes out to try it, though.
Yeah, I will. I will definitely. But yeah, Jordan
it downloads the Dota 2 again, or else it gets the hose again.
Yeah, Jordan mentioned Overwatch, and I would not mind some Overwatch for the Linuxes, but it's a Blizzard game, therefore it will never happen.
Thank you, Ted. That was the joke. And on that
No. I mean, MOBAs, that's the whole thing. I mean, I think, Angel, you're right. I mean,
Yule,
however that's done,
Mjolnir
is their community is, especially Dota, is inherently toxic because it's a free game. And that's when you're going to get the worst of the worst. Not the trolliest of trolls, not the Vastanaratai that is our chat realm. Oh, you don't want to be on the bad side of them. But you know what? Maybe we'll try. Maybe Pedro and Jordan, we might even stream our first attempt at a Dota match or something like that.
Yeah, no,
and I'm sure it'll end in nightmare fuel. What?
It with myself, MT Strider, and you and Pedro on a team. That's 5 people. We could probably do a chat roll match too. We could make a series of it if you guys like it enough. Well, it's just pure salt. It's so bitter. It's just like licking Ben, who's very
$175 a week Patreon goal.
And on that expensive bombshell, let's cue the music. You can always find us around 9:30 Eastern time. That's Freedom Time, East Coast of the North Americas, the USA thingy. Look that up, type time in Athens, GA. You'll figure out what time you need to be aiming for. I'm at Vinstone on the Twitter nets. You know, if you scream at me there, I'll get back to you. I mean, if it's something good, plus Vinstone on the G pluses, definitely will get back to you there. And that's kind of brilliant.
I'm Jordan Fung. You can find me staying in my goddamn lane at the Burning Pool on Twitter, plus Jordan Fung on Google+.
Jordan, I'm going to need you to do some jungling from now on. You're going to just take care of the mobs that spawn. That's your job. I am Pedro Mateos. You can find me at Unaccounted For on Twitter or plus Pedro Mateos on Google+.
So, what have we learned this week on Linux Gamecast Weekly?
Don't play the Mims.
That's what I was going for.
Yeah. Pretty much. I don't really have anything, Pedro.
Open RW. Poke those guys. Ask them if they need any help. If you have any experience with GTA 3 or really re-implementing engines with some manner of open source, seriously, poke them. And I want to see that come to fruition.
Thanks again for all the Patreons that help make the show possible, because you're just a bit of awesome.
That's nuts.
You're so close. It must be. It's because he's Jewish.
Another fitty, and you get to play serious sounds.
Listen, you're not paying me in Jew gold, man. That has nothing to do with it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Jew said Jew gold, not us. So
the Nazis got all of that.
Send your hate mail to Pedro.
5 dudes.